Hey, I'm about to go live now on the podcast, so I don't know if I will be ready before 4. Um, then what I would say is you can actually watch from 4 or whenever you are free, you can actually watch the podcast, and whenever you see that I am done, then you can come. I guess that's what makes, and I can still anyway write you when I finish, but then you can leave a little bit earlier or something if you see I'm coming slowly to the end or whatever. So okay, just that you know. Hello, gringos y gringas, beaners and beanerettes. Welcome back to El Racist Latino. My name is Rafael Contreras, and we have a really cool show today. We're gonna talk about the history of Somalia and Somaliland. As usual, we will first find a YouTube video that explains us as short as possible, as much history as we can know, and then slowly move to recent events and the recent declaration of Somaliland official by Bibi Netanyahu in Israel. And yeah, we're talking about Africa again. That was not my intention. My intention is actually originally I wanted to jump from regions as to make it more dynamic, let's say. But the spotlight is in Africa right now, not only with what we spoke about Burkina Faso, also Somalia, and the US just bombed Nigeria, and the whole Africa is now a big mess. So it's the spotlight is there, so let's take a look. Of course, without losing light of what's going on in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Venezuela. This is all still active, but it seems that the biggest news or the biggest escalations lately have been there in Africa, which is horrible because the other wars don't de-escalate. So we have more and more escalation. Yeah, small examples like Cambodia and Thailand, and Azerbaijan and Georgia was also recent. We can speak about that in a future episode, but those are not, that relevant, let's say, to say it lightly. Tensions in Taiwan increasing, and yeah, as we spoke about in the podcast breakdown, the only one I have done so far, please go check it out. We speak about the likelihood of World War III next year, or not next year, but in the next couple of years, let's say before 2030, we can say. And yeah, this is exactly the point, that all over the world wars are escalating and not de-escalating, the big ones. And yeah, we have the red pill. We took the red pill on the Burkina Faso episode. Please check it out, because I was shocked about many things about Burkina Faso, and the fact that they are now developing this economic partnership with Mali, Niger, and of course strong relationships with North Korea, China, Russia, the BRICS nations. So it's pretty interesting what's going on in Africa. It hasn't had this spotlight in maybe ever, I guess. This is one of the reasons people don't really know much about Africa, that some people think that Africa is just the South African country and you go to make safari. But it's a huge continent, huge. And a lot of countries, a lot of history, possibly the very first humans ever originated there. So it's it's an interesting subject for those like me who like history and are obsessed with politics. So let's begin. Oh, by the way, I'm rocking red today, which if you wanna hear a fun story, it's I guess it's Communist Monday. A fun story that you won't hear in the news, cultural. Back in the days when Chavez was beginning in Venezuela, when this revolutionary communistic socialistic movement was starting, let's say in the year 2000, 2001, when there was a national strike at the beginning of the year, wearing red became this kind of like, you support communism. Nobody was wearing red. Like for my whole adult childhood, nobody wore red ever. People would be even skeptic to buy red cars. Hilarious shit. And even after I moved out of the country, for years and years, I didn't wear red. But when it looks this good on me, I cannot. Nah, fuck it, Then you grow up and you realize these are just symbolisms that don't mean anything. So, alright, let's start. Oh, you know what I find pretty cool? That this new account that I made only for this pod, I only use when I'm doing this pod. This is not my private account. So it's very interesting to see slowly building, the algorithm building up, right? What do I get after the searches that we have done together? I'm not doing any searches offline. So when you do the searches that we do, this is the kind of algorithm that you get. That's interesting. So let's start finding a history of Somalia and Somaliland. 27 minutes, that's too long. The Somaliland conflict explained. Let's check it out. It's only 6 minutes. It's 4 years ago. So that's actually good, because when the topics are trendy and hot, it is actually kind of dangerous. Like there's more propaganda and more bullshit to filter, So what they are saying about Somaliland now might not be the same narrative that was explained in this video 4 years ago, because now they are pushing for support or against, or every time. Sometimes the US, the CIA financially funds and backs ISIS and Al Qaeda. Sometimes they bomb them. Depend on the day of the week. So in this case, it's good that we're gonna have some perspective, like before all of this stuff happens. And yeah, let's check them out. Let's check it out.
In the eastern Horn of Africa sits the country of Somalia, long regarded by many people as one of, if not the most dangerous state for
Oh yeah, I am the captain now. Of course, Somalia, very famous for... Oh man, I keep forgetting about doing this. Let's check the map. You see, I haven't checked the map since we did... Let's check the map. And so here we are, right? Where is Somalia? We are here again in Africa still. This is what you can call the Horn of Africa, where you have Somalia, Djibouti, and Eritrea. Djibouti is a very, very important country geographically, even though it's so small, because, of course, it blocks here the... What is the name of this strait? I can imagine that this is like the Bab al-Mandab Strait. Okay, not very famous like the Hormuz Strait or whatever, but it's very important because around 30% of goods go through here, and then they go into the Red Sea to be distributed into Turkey and the Middle East. So this is a huge problem for the West. Let me give you a little bit of a nutshell of what's going on. This is a very important place to control. And guess who is here making trouble? The Houthis, right? What the West calls the Houthis is a resistance group or terrorist group. You can call it differently depending on which side you are. But if we follow facts, it's an armed group that stands against the interest of Israel, the United States, and the West in general. And they are called, the Houthis is the Western name. They're called Ansar Allah, actually. It's like the Hezbollah of Lebanon, the Hamas of Palestine, of Gaza, the Druze of Syria, the ISIS of Saudi Arabia, whatever. So they are the Houthis, Al-Sarala, they are standing here, and we already have been hearing for some time already how the Houthis in, rebellion against what's happening in Palestine, what Israel is doing in Gaza, they are bombing merchant ships, which makes, of course, like the trade becomes a problem, which means people start losing money. That's when they take it serious, right? So, okay, control over this trade is very important. We clear that up. You have the Houthis here being very annoying for the West. Djibouti, of course, very, very important geographically because it's right there by the strait. Now, Djibouti is a very interesting country politically because they are like the Switzerland of Africa, in the sense that you have American bases there, American military bases there, but you also have, I think, the only foreign Chinese military base is in Djibouti. So China has huge interest in Djibouti, as we spoke already before. That is mostly because China has come offering real deals and actually doing things for the country in the places where they are exploiting the minerals and stuff. They are building roads and actually improving the community of the Djiboutians or whatever. And that's not exactly what the West does when they colonize, or when well, actually they colonize. The Chinese don't colonize. The French, the British, the Americans, that's colonization. So because the Chinese don't colonize, they come to make deals, then the government of Djibouti is very, very happy with the Chinese. And here on the north, you have then American and Israel bases. So Djibouti is politically right now Switzerland. They are clearing their hands and say, this is not my fucking problem. They just want to make everybody happy and be, neutral, I guess, which is not a dumb thing to do, especially when you are so small and probably not very powerful, probably not very rich. I can imagine it's mostly poor people and not many resources, not much development, etc., etc. Third world country, maybe even lower than that. Because if you can say that, let's say countries like Venezuela or Indonesia or I don't know, so those countries are third world countries, even though let's say everybody has electricity, how do you call a country like Burkina Faso that only 20% of the people have electricity? That's fourth, fifth country, I guess. Anyway, so here in the Horn of Africa, as we saw already a little bit in the video, the northern part is controlled by is this Somaliland, which is apparently, guess, controlled by who? ISIS. So, yeah, what a coincidence. Also, a little bit, I guess we can talk about Nigeria in the next episode, but a little bit about Nigeria. The bombing of Nigeria happened from the sea. So America brought a couple of airplane carriers and destroyers and stuff, and they launched Tomahawk missiles from the sea to this area. This is where, and they're bombing ISIS also. They're bombing terrorist groups, of course, because the north of Nigeria is mostly Islamic and Muslim, and the south of Nigeria is mostly Christian. So there has been this kind of peaceful. They've been living in peace actually until these terrorist groups came along. Everybody just lives in peace until they are provoked. Somebody has to do that provoking. You know what I mean? So otherwise, people don't give a shit, man. We just go to different supermarkets and we pray in different buildings. But otherwise, who gives a shit? So that's the attitude of, I would say, 80% of the humans around the world. But we have these leaders who disagree with that attitude and they insist on breaking balls. So the terrorist organization group or resistance group, like in this case, I also want to be objective, even though I consider them terrorists. They are here, more or less, in this very rural, very dense jungle. Where are we gonna... so here this is where they're hanging out. Why are they hanging out here? Because from here they can not only distress operations, but also themselves move between four countries. They are in Cameroon, they are in Nigeria, in Chad, and in Niger. And the northern Nigerians, like, this is all full of terrorist settlement camps, and they are expanding into Niger, as we spoke in the Burkina Faso episode. So the Burkina Fasovians and today they are fighting Al Qaeda and ISIS. And ISIS, they are partnering with Niger and Mali, and now ISIS is expanding in Niger. So I guess it makes kind of sense why these three countries want to make military and trade partnerships. Chad, I don't know much about. I think it's getting kind of neutral. Also a cool episode. Since Africa is now in the spotlight, let's learn about Africa, whatever. So that's what's going on in Nigeria. Let's not take a long time there. So yeah, similar problem you have here. Somaliland becomes to this group. I think they are all Muslims. Doesn't matter north or south. However, this Somaliland group is controlled on top. We will find out the idea of watching this preview of what happened before and the history of this is to find out what is going on. What's the difference between these two? Why are they fighting? You know, in Africa is pretty interesting because most of the people look the same and, you know, pray to the same God and stuff. And it's just like the Xhosa and the Zulus in South Africa, tribes that is like endless wars. Like, why? Why? You know? And this is also, it's not like every African country is innocent unless the colonizers come. They were like every race, there are some of them that are savages and just like killing people or being aggressive or who knows, whatever. So anyway, the Sudan and South Sudan situation is also pretty interesting. We're going to talk about that soon as well. So now that we are more or less updated, let's go to this clip. Let's check it out.
In the eastern Horn of Africa sits the country of Somalia, long regarded by many people as one of, if not the most dangerous state for visiting. The country is very well known for failing to deal with the countless terrorist groups, warlords and even armed pirates in the country, which has left the country in ruins and its citizens in an awful situation. However, in the very north of the country lies an unlikely disputed nation that is well known for its relative peace.
Please, I forgot one thing that I will ask from anyone who's watching. Only one thing, one favor I will ask from you. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. It really helps for the algorithm, and of course it gives me a little bit of motivation boost. I plan to do this anyway, even if I don't get views, because I like doing it. However, of course, it makes you feel better knowing that other people also like it and I'm bringing some value into someone's life. So please let me know if you like it. Please subscribe if you want to keep in touch constantly. And if you don't like it, you're more than welcome to shoot me a comment in the chat or in the comment if you're watching the VOD. And let me know what you don't like. You know, I take criticism. I don't take it personal, so you can hate all you want. I don't mind. All right, let's start over. I apologize.
Which has left the country in ruins and its citizen groups. In the eastern Horn of Africa sits the country of Somalia, long regarded by many people as one of, if not the most dangerous state for visiting. The country is very well known for failing to deal with the countless terrorist groups, warlords and even armed pirates in the country,
Al-Qaeda,
which has left the country in ruins and its citizens in an awful situation. However, in the very north of the country lies an unlikely disputed nation that is well known for its relative peacefulness, friendly people and its non-recognition from anyone.
Okay.
Yep, that's right. No country recognises Somaliland despite the situation being very different from war-torn Somalia. So why? Why is Somaliland not recognised, and how did this situation happen?
Do I have it backwards? Is it really the South that is actually the problematic one? According to this video, yes. We will definitely double check, because this is not what I heard from other sources. But yeah, open-minded for everything. Let's see. If we had some wrong information before, we'll correct it. And then I will know, hey, these people lied to me. And this is how it works. You cannot trust anybody 100%. Even your favorite podcaster, even me, if I become your favorite news source, you can never trust me 100%. I also make mistakes, even if it's not on purpose. I'm not ill-intentioned to just give this information to lie to people, but I do make mistakes because I'm human. So if I do, let me know. I will correct myself, and do your own research always. Double check what I say, double check what anybody says.
Well, to understand the current situation, we need to go back to 1887,
I like
when the
that.
British took over most of what we now call Somaliland, making it a protectorate. However, many tribes continued to resist this foreign invader. This would last up until roughly 1920, when the territory would fully be pacified and brought completely under British rule. Meanwhile, across the rest of modern-day Somalia,
Man, so they were at war for 40 years. So the British and the British were there breaking balls, trying to colonize them for 40 years. Shit, bro, leave them alone. Of course, they make it some kind of a Australian version of their flag, of course.
Rule. Meanwhile, across the rest of modern-day Somalia, a different foreign European power was taking over, Italy. It would establish Italian Somaliland in 1889.
Oh, really? Italy also had man, I had no idea that Italy... Because this is funny, because most of the European countries and languages you can learn. If you learn French, you don't necessarily need to go to France because it's a little bit more useful outside of Europe. You know, and obviously Spanish, Portuguese, and French, English, obviously, and well, the Netherlands and German and the Scandinavians less. But my argument was always that Italy was such a useless language, Italian, because you can only speak it in Italy, and it turns out they did some colonizings, but I guess nobody speaks Italian in Somalia. I don't think so. But nobody liked the language there, so they were like, fuck this, mamma mia.
Was taking over Italy, it would establish Italian Somaliland in 1889. From then on, the territory would be used as a launching pad for Italy to invade Abyssinia, along with its other territory, Eritrea, forming Italian East Africa. This would mean that the sizable amount of ethnic Somalis in Abyssinia,
Italian
now
East
Ethiopia,
Africa.
were all united.
Wow.
However, in 1939, World War II broke out, and Italy originally declared neutrality before joining Germany the following year against the British. This would cause heavy fighting with the British, and eventually the Italians conquered British Somaliland, annexing it into Italian East Africa.
Oh.
However, a year later, the British struck back.
Do they speak Italian there? Because the colonization went maybe not that long as the South American Portuguese, whatever ones, or French. But they did have Ethiopia, all of this. Let's Google that. That's interesting. Let's go to Google, right? Does Eastern Africa speak Italian? Let's see. Yes, Italian is spoken in parts of Eastern Africa, primarily in foreign Italian, due to colonial history, mainly by older generations and the descendants of the colonists. So you have white people there. No, that's not useful. Africa, bro. Here it is. Okay. In Eritrea, Italian is at times used in commerce and the capital city. Wow. Oh, but one Italian school, so it's not like French. The news we have covered from colonized French countries, Madagascar, fucking Burkina Faso, and right now Ivory Coast and Senegal, all of those countries, French is the main language. It's not like these ones. These people just got rid of the Italian. Even Libya. Italian was also introduced, blah, 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 and was the sole official language during the colonial period, but fell out of use after government. Nobody cared. Ethiopia, Italy is spoken in a few parts, mostly among older generation. The kids don't like it, man. Fuck that language. It is taught in many schools. Interesting. That's cool. That's something I didn't know. If somebody asks, do they speak Italian outside of Italy? You say, yes. Kinda. They don't really want to. They're trying to erase
Italians and taking over both Somalilands again. However, under military occupation this time. From there, up until 1950, then the southern part of Somalia was handed back to Italy.
Yeah, but these people, they even took Kenya. And all the way up. We cannot see north, but I guess Egypt, right? Yeah, exactly. That's when the British had control over Egypt, and they went all the way up. If we see this map going up, like the British in 1940, the British had Egypt, all of this. They took it in the First World War. So during the First World War, all of this was Ottoman Empire land, more or less. It belonged to the Turks, and you had native Middle Easterns back then, actual Palestinian people living in the land called Palestine back then and for 2,000 years, and it's in the Bible, and it just hasn't been recognized by the UN, if that means anything. So this used to be Ottoman Empire, and the British in the First World War took all of that shit, and they they had all of this stuff. They gave Lebanon, they gave Syria to France after the First World War. France got Syria and Lebanon, I think, and the UK or the British got Palestine and Israel and Jordan, and they all, as we saw right now, you can connect all of that to the whole east of Africa. Sudan, South Sudan, Kenya, maybe even a piece of Uganda. So huge. Like here, they had all of that shit, the British. This is by that year, 1941. Of course, we know that in 1948, they started receding from the Middle East. They gave officially Israel to the Jewish people, and Syria was kind of controlled by the French still and needed a couple of years to become independent, I think in the 60s or something. So yeah, that's what happened.
Italy, on the condition that Italy, under UN administration, would help the southern part of Somalia gain independence in a decade, from where the north would gain independence from the British on the 26th of Somalia, taking over.
Okay, so 1941, Hitler is losing the war, which means that Mussolini is losing the war. So, of course, the British are advancing in all fronts. I also think that in 1941 is when America came in the war, which gave a huge load of relief to the British troops. Because I cannot imagine, without America, the British, I don't think they even have enough front lines to defend their own land. But because America comes in, now they have the resources to push these other colonies. Interesting, right?
Both Somalilands again, however under military occupation this time. From there, up until 1950, then the southern part of Somalia was handed back to Italy on the condition that Italy, under UN administration, would help the southern part.
Okay, but in which year? Was it before the end of the war?
From there, up until 1950, then the southern
up until 1950
part of Somalia was handed back to Italy on the condition.
Okay, so in 1950, after the war, they handed back to Italy
under UN administration.
This means that the Italian government was then, of course, friendly. I mean, Mussolini goes down. I have no idea who the new leader, the first leader, becomes after Mussolini, after peace. But it is obvious that they were friendly to the West, so to speak. If they agree, yeah, sure, I'll give it back in 10 years or whatever. They took anything they could get.
The southern part of Somalia gain independence in a decade, from where the north would gain independence from the British on the 26th of June 1960, and a few days later on the 1st of July 1960, so did the southern part of Somalia. In its brief independence between this period, it would be recognised by 35 different countries, including the UK, before deciding to officially join with the former Italian part to form the Somali Republic.
Okay, so they were a country. And yes, I think this happened in 91. I read about this a little bit. They were a country from 1960 to 1991. And then they joined the Somali Republic. I wonder if it was a willing, peaceful join of forces, or actually join us or we'll kill you kind of situation.
Although the northern part would be autonomous. The new union was, however, an unhappy one, and after the Somali government in Mogadishu...
So if they didn't do it willingly and happily, then I guess it was kind of a join us or we'll bomb you. Because they introduced... Okay, this is getting cool.
The new union was, however, an unhappy one, and after the Somali government in Mogadishu introduced a new constitution for the whole country, the Somalis in the north became disillusioned with the union, and a small brief uprising amongst junior officers would be quickly crushed by the central government in 1961. In 1969, the president was assassinated by his own bodyguards, and what followed was a military coup brought on by the army commander Siad Barre, who became the new
man! The mustache, bro. The mustache. I present to you the new president of Namibia, Adolf, Black Adolf Hitler. Oh man, oh, oh man, thank you God for having a dark sense of humor. Oh man, this is so good.
Somalia. He would make the country a one-party communist dictatorship, strongly wishing to centralize the country.
Why always the fucking communist? Okay, they were not happy in the first place. I get it, like the northern people. However, there was this coup. They killed the president. This fucker took power, and guess what he did? The question is, the previous president, was he democratically elected? They don't speak a lot about how the previous president was elected or how did it work. Was he also a dictator? We don't have that context. We don't know if the people were unhappy there, not only like in Somaliland on the top, they were always unhappy apparently. Who knows why they joined? But the people in, these actual people, the Somalian people, the real Somalian people, were they unhappy? Nobody knows. We don't know. So this new dude comes to power and conveniently starts activating the Communist Party. I know a little bit about that.
The country a one-party communist dictatorship, strongly wishing to centralize the country. He would decide to remove Somaliland's autonomy, making
what else is new, man, with the fucking centralization? They love it.
A proper part of Somalia. This would gain him the support of the Soviet Union and other communist countries.
Surprise,
However,
surprise.
his regime continued to be mainly unpopular among his fellow countrymen, but especially in the north, as they now felt that they were being dominated by the southern Somali part of the country, and now with no autonomy, most didn't want to stay as a part of Somalia. Furthermore, Siad Barre aggressively stamped out all forms of opposition and showed little regard for northern Somali culture. Wanting to rally the population around nationalism, he would decide to invade neighbouring communist Ethiopia without telling his Soviet and other communist allies, as many ethnic Somalis lived in Ethiopia. To rally the population around nationalism, he would decide to...
So the population was pissed at communism. What a surprise. And then to avoid the people from revolting, he decided to invade another country to create nationalism.
Wanting to rally the population...
Good decisions.
Around nationalism, he would decide to invade neighbouring communist Ethiopia without telling his Soviet and other communist allies, as many ethnic Somalis lived in Ethiopia, so he believed if he could win the war, he'd be celebrated among his population for uniting all Somalis in neighbouring Ethiopia into his Somalia. What followed was the Ogaden War from 1977 to 1978, in which Somalia would invade the Ogaden region of eastern Ethiopia to help separatists that wanted to unify the two. He would then achieve initial success against the Ethiopians before being defeated, as his former communist allies were enraged at the Somalis for doing this, and so they sent thousands of Soviet and Cuban troops to help the Ethiopians.
The one little Cuban flag. This is one dude, I don't know, cooking rice and beans or something. A lot of Russians here. Where are the Chinese? Where are the Chinese? And one motherfucker, one Cuban bot. Hilarious.
Eventually pushing the Somalis back to the border by 1978. Outraged at this humiliating defeat, opposition Somali groups and many separatists in the north would launch uprisings against his government, and the central government in Mogadishu responded with brutal force, bombing the now capital city of Somaliland, Hargeisa, so much that around 90% of the entire city lay in ruins by the end of the campaign.
Gaza style. Gaza style. So in 1978, the capital city was leveled, and I have to say, again, being objective, I don't see any kind of foul play in this history. Of course, there's a lot missing, there's a lot of holes in the story, and from who funded this coup that brought these communists up, and of course who had the idea to invade an ally. This is similar to Israel bombing Qatar. This is the same situation, or very similar situation. When Israel bombs Qatar, America has its hands tied. And in this case, when Somalia invades, is this Eritrea? No, that's not Ethiopia. When Somalia invades Ethiopia, then the USSR gets pissed. So in it was the same situation And because of this defeat, the people of Somaliland, who were in theory peaceful, they get pissed and they revolt. And in reply, then the Mogadishu government, which is, I guess, is still the one that suffered this defeat. They didn't say anything about killing Black Adolf Hitler, so might be him to save his ego a little bit. He destroys, fucking flattens the whole city. Good decisions again. Second one.
The entire city lay in ruins by the end of the campaign, but by 1991, the various opposition groups which had backing from Ethiopia for revenge for that war a few years prior had captured Mogadishu, the Somali capital, ousting Siad Barre, forcing him to flee first to Kenya and then Nigeria. From there, Somalia descended into chaos and anarchy, and the Northerners decided it was time to declare independence, or as many Somalilanders would say, reclaim their independence. From then on, Somaliland would fight a few minor skirmish battles with the neighbouring Somaliland region of Puntland over the disputed border. But other than that, Somaliland has remained relatively peaceful, so now we understand why this country exists. But the question now is, why has nobody recognised the territory? I mean, it has everything any other regular country has. It has its own currency, government free of foreign influence, police force, military, and has a defined territory. Well, there's two main reasons for this. The first is African borders. If Somaliland can break away, surely other areas of other European-made African borders could be changed as well. The second and final reason is if a country voluntarily joins with another country, it doesn't have the right to regain independence, and so countries wouldn't want to disrespect the territorial integrity of Somalia. It's unlikely that the Somali government will allow it to secede, as the country is still in a civil war, and therefore the Somali government is too busy to discuss the issue. A video which I might make another day.
Okay, so their argument is that not that Somalia is at war with Somaliland. Apparently the Somaliland people live at peace, they have their own currency, their own police state, their own governance, they didn't speak about military, but whatever. So it's really like a different country. It's like Cyprus with their Turkish and Greek side, or like a let's find another example that's good, or a because in this case it's the same language, the same religion. You know, the Turkish and the Greeks had really nothing. They don't look alike. They don't speak like the languages. The alphabet is not even the same. It's like ridiculous. They're different in every way, with the exceptions that they are humans. But as we all know, that's not enough. So in this case, they really have little excuse. I mean, I can imagine that if you go deep into the science, you have like different ethnic groups and they look a bit different. And how can you say that they are the same? You're racist and all that shit. But let's be real, you know, a fucking Serbian and a fucking Bosnian is the same. So in this case, we can use the same analogy. It's very interesting. So the argument is that this Somaliland people, they live at peace and blah, blah, blah. And Somalia is just busy fighting the civil war in Somalia. So my question is, why don't the Somalian people move to Somaliland if it's so bad? As usual, I mean, it's only 7 minutes, but there's a lot of holes here.
For now, I hope you enjoyed this video. I find Africa just as fascinating as Europe and Asia, so I thought I should do a video on one of its ongoing conflicts. I plan on maybe doing another African conflict like in Libya or maybe the Western Sahara and Morocco.
Yeah, good luck with that, bro. Let me know how it goes. According to this, Somaliland are the good guys. I don't know if I'm being prejudged or judgmental, or I don't know, but it is for me very hard to believe that the West and Netanyahu and Israel are doing something good. Just good, something good for the people. Man, but it's not enough. That is 7-minute video is not enough.
Was brought to you by NordVPN. Drastic changes to the Somali constitution, which men claim that they'd approve. Was brought to you by NordVPN. Late last month, Somalia's federal government claimed that they'd approved a series of drastic changes.
Okay, by the way, we're watching TLDR News Global. They have 1 million subs, and the video is a year old. So yeah, it's not that recent, which is what we want when it comes to history. Why Somaliland gave a part of the Red Sea port to Ethiopia? Okay, that's too deep. We don't want to go that deep right now.
Changes to the Somali constitution, which would basically give more power to the president and central government at the expense of Somalia's regional administrations. Now, this didn't go down well with Puntland, the oldest and largest of Somalia's regions, who announced
Wait.
late last
What?
month. Somalia's federal government claimed that they'd approved
Late last month, so a year ago. Okay, I guess this is kind of recent. I don't wanna go too recent at the moment. I wanna see another short video. Man, I don't know. I don't know if this one is being biased, bro. Honestly. What if Somaliland broke away? The sad origins of the controversial breakaway state. 7 months ago, independent but still ignored. The history of Somalia, a journey to 3,000 years of history.
Somalia.
Who is this people? History sphere. Very few subs. Interesting, a year ago. Right?
A land of ancient cultures and enduring resilience, lies on the Horn of Africa, where the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean meets the Red Sea. Its history stretches back tens of thousands of years, intertwined with the story of humanity itself. From prehistoric hunter-gatherers to the bustling trade empires of antiquity, from the arrival of Islam to the trials of colonization and the complexities of modern nationhood, Somalia's journey is as rich and diverse as its landscapes. To understand Somalia is to journey through time, discovering a land where culture, survival, and innovation have thrived in the face of immense challenges. Our story begins in the mists of prehistory. Archaeological evidence shows that the Somali region was inhabited as far back as the Paleolithic era, over 100,000 years ago. Early humans roamed the savannas and plateaus, living as hunter-gatherers in a land teeming with wildlife. The discovery of ancient cave paintings in the Layaskil caves near Hargeisa.
I think I overdid it when I said let's go far behind. That's a bit that's a bit too far. As I said, this might be arguably the origins of humanity, not civilization. I think civilization is more, according to my personal research, there's a lot that I don't know, probably most of everything I don't know. It's more in Middle East, what it is now considered Iraq and Syria, in Susa under Hammurabi. The Hammurabi Code is basically the first evidence that we have of civilization, of something that looks similar to the Bible, to don't be an asshole, be generous, be good, blah, blah, don't steal, don't kill, like the 10 Commandments. And there's, of course, lots of rumors and conspiracy theories that Moses stole those principles from Hammurabi, because after the Exodus, they landed in Susa, in around that area, back then was called Susa, and that's more or less where Hammurabi was. I don't want to say how many years, because I don't know, but maybe a couple hundred years before. And there is even a story where the Hammurabi Code was in the center of the town, like exposed, and it got stolen. And of course, conspiracy theories say that somebody took it and gave it to Moses, and yeah, the rest is history. So maybe we went a bit too far. Whatever, it's an 8-minute video, so let's anyway entertain this because it's fun.
Provides a glimpse into the lives of these early inhabitants. These vivid depictions of cattle, humans, and rituals date back over 5,000 years and suggest a culture deeply connected to its environment. As the climate changed and human societies evolved, Somalia became home to early pastoral communities. By the Neolithic period, Somali ancestors had mastered animal husbandry, cultivating a lifestyle that remains central to Somali identity today. The story of Somalia's prominence begins in earnest with the rise of the land of Punt, an ancient civilization mentioned in Egyptian records dating back to the 25th century BCE. Known as a land of abundance and mystery, Punt was famed for its trade in gold, myrrh, frankincense, and exotic animals. Egyptian expeditions, such as the one led by Queen Hatshepsut, recorded their journeys to Punt, highlighting its wealth and strategic importance in regional trade. While historians debate the exact location of Punt, many believe it lay along the Somali coast and its hinterlands, marking Somalia as a key player in one of the earliest global trading networks. As centuries passed, the Somali people became integral to the maritime networks. As centuries passed, the Somali people became integral to the maritime trade routes connecting Africa,
I'm sorry.
the Middle East, and Asia.
Not important anyway.
By the first millennium CE, bustling ports like Zayla and Berbera emerged as hubs of commerce. Merchants exchanged ivory, spices, and precious stones for silk, ceramics, and other goods from India and China. Somalia's position on the Horn of Africa made it a gateway for both cultural and economic exchange, and it was during this era that Islam began to take root in the region. By the 7th century, Arab traders and missionaries brought the teachings of Islam to Somali shores. The Somali people embraced the new religion, which became a cornerstone of their identity. The construction of mosques and Islamic schools solidified Somalia's place within the broader Muslim world. The medieval period saw the rise of powerful Somali city-states and sultanates. The Ajuran Empire, which flourished between the 13th and 17th centuries, was a dominant force in the Horn of Africa. The Ajuran rulers...
Right, that's actually interesting. I'm gonna write that down on the side because I wanna find out more about that. What's the name?
The Ajuran Empire.
The Ajuran Empire. Maybe we'll do, if it's interesting, we'll do a podcast breakdown about it, because I've been thinking about this podcast breakdown segment that I have on the side, and as I spoke about, I did some one about the future, like about how realistic is World War III, but I've been thinking that we could use it also like a history podcast where we watch like a long form 1 hour history about something. I was thinking, for example, now with all the context, maybe we can find out what BRICS is and watch a long documentary or breakdown of BRICS and find out what it does exactly mean, what BRICS is trying to do. What is BRICS? What's the goal of this? And, because I don't really know that. I know the basics, but I haven't done myself the deep dive on BRICS. So yeah, we'll see.
Empire,
okay, the Ajuran Empire
between the 13th and 17th centuries, was a dominant force in the Horn of Africa. The Ajuran rulers established a sophisticated administrative system, built impressive fortifications, and promoted agriculture through an extensive network of wells and irrigation systems. Their control over trade routes ensured prosperity, and their influence extended far beyond Somalia's borders. Similarly, the Sultanate of Mogadishu became a prominent trading power, attracting merchants from Persia, Arabia, and India. Mogadishu, the white pearl of the Indian Ocean, was a cosmopolitan city where diverse cultures converged, leaving a lasting legacy of art, architecture, and learning. However, Somalia's fortunes changed with the arrival of European colonists.
Every fucking time, bro. Every fucking time. Every fucking time. The Pearl of Africa, or the Pearl of the Horn of Africa, it used to be called. for 4 centuries, from the 13th to the 17th century. It was a rich, prospering country, happy, wealthy in some sense, for those standards, let's say, powerful. And then came the white people.
And colonial powers in the late 19th century. The scramble
Okay, so from the 13th to the late 19th, so 500 years, they had their kind of utopia, I guess. And of course, you have one white dude sitting down wearing white with all the black soldiers. So he's probably gonna finish the day drinking some tea and reading the newspaper. And these poor black motherfuckers are just gonna go to the front line and die for the white man. This is what I mean about the white people, man. I love you guys. I love you white people. But what is it with the fucking colonization, man? Leave people alone. This is the only thing. The only thing. Man, you are cool, generous, warm-hearted, and amazing people. Smart, strong, big, genetics, like everything. But dude, stop it with the fucking colonization. Even nowadays, the only colonization that we have live right now in 4K in TV is Israel doing that. Where are they from? Where are they from? Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, Russia? Like we're during the Bolshevik War. Dude, stop it, guys. Stop it, fuck. leave the brown people alone and the black people alone, man, and the yellow ones as well.
for Africa saw Somalia divided among Britain, Italy, and France, while Ethiopia claimed the Ogaden region. This partitioning disrupted traditional Somali governance and sowed the seeds of future conflicts. The British controlled the northwestern region, known as British Somaliland, while Italy took southern Somalia,
French also
including
took something.
Mogadishu. France claimed Djibouti, a small but strategically significant area. The colonial period brought new infrastructure.
France claimed Djibouti. So basically, Djibouti is a French colony.
And economic development, but also exploitation and resistance. Somali leaders like Syed Mohammed Abdullah Hassan, the Mad Mullah, led fierce campaigns against colonial rule, earning him a place as a national hero. After decades of struggle, Somalia achieved independence in 1960, as British Somaliland and Italian Somaliland united to form the Somali Republic. This was a moment of great hope, as the new nation sought to forge a path of unity and progress. However, the challenges of building a modern state soon became apparent. Clan divisions, economic disparities, and political instability plagued the young republic. In 1969, a military coup led by General Mohammed Siad Barre ushered in a new era. Barre's government pursued a socialist agenda, promoting literacy and infrastructure development. Yet, his regime became increasingly authoritarian, suppressing dissent and exacerbating clan rivalries. The 1980s marked a turning point for Somalia. Economic decline, drought, and growing opposition to Barre's rule culminated in the outbreak of civil war in 1991. The fall of Barre's government plunged Somalia into chaos as rival warlords vied for control. The absence of a central government led to widespread violence, famine, and displacement. The international community intervened, with UN peacekeeping missions attempting to restore order, but the situation remained dire. The 1993 Battle of Mogadishu, depicted in the film Black Hawk Down, underscored the challenges of foreign intervention in Somalia's complex conflict. Despite these hardships, Somalia's resilience shone through. In the early 2000s,
Somalia's resilience. These poor people have been at war since the white people arrived. Like, it's like they don't have anything to say. From the 17th to the end of the 1900s, there's no story. There's nothing to say because they were at peace. They were the pearl of the Horn of Africa, the pearl of Africa or whatever. Huge for trade, wealthy, happy. Nothing to say, boring. That's when everything is going well. It's boring as fuck. Since the colonizers came, they haven't known a second of peace. For over 100 years, 130, 150 years, they haven't known peace.
Country began to stabilize. The northern region of Somaliland declared independence in 1991 and established a functioning government, though it remains unrecognized internationally.
Okay, so they actually did separate in some sort of a Kosovo kind of way. They actually did separate, but nobody, like the UN, hasn't recognized them. Okay, but these people still do not say, they do not take the side of the other video that we watch that says that they were living at peace and stuff. They kind of, they don't clarify what was going on in Somaliland during all of this, like the other video did. So we still don't know if they're actually the good guys. But I mean, the fact that Netanyahu, listen, my only problem is that nothing that Netanyahu does I approve of. So when he does something, it's kind of a reflex, like, oh, okay, I know what this means. However, it's possible that he's finally supporting the good guy for some reason, somehow. And yeah, no need to be cynical, but I'm sure that he's not doing it for the pureness of his heart, for his love and support of the Somaliland people. He's probably trying to get points with the world for being nice, PR points, or of course for some interest political gains. We don't know which yet. Let's see if we can find some of them where we are now. After this clip, we will go to recent things, what's going on now. Maybe we will find out the reason why Netanyahu is doing this. Hopefully.
Puntland, another autonomous region,
So you see,
also achieved relative stability. Meanwhile, in southern Somalia, efforts to rebuild a central government gained momentum. The formation of the federal government of Somalia in 2012 marked a significant step toward national recovery, though challenges persisted. Today, Somalia faces a delicate balance between hope and hardship. The country has made strides in rebuilding its institutions, fostering economic growth, and combating extremist groups like Al-Shabaab. Its diaspora, one of the largest in the world, plays a vital role in supporting development through remittances and investments. At the same time, Somalia grapples with ongoing security issues, climate change, and humanitarian crises. Yet, the Somali people's resilience, creativity, and entrepreneurial spirit offer a beacon of hope for the future. From its ancient roots as a land of trade and culture to its modern struggles and aspirations, Somalia's story is one of endurance and renewal, a testament to the strength of its people and the richness of its heritage.
Okay, I guess that's good for history. I think we have more or less a grasp of the situation. There's some holes yet to be filled, but it looks like, when you zoom out, it looks like Somaliland are the good guys, and Netanyahu is supporting them. So now this is gonna be an easier Google to find out what's going on now. So by the way, before I was saying that I will also want to search for news in X and in antiwar.com, which is this page, and I realized that YouTube is actually enough. I do read antiwar.com regularly, but I just realized that for streaming, same with X, for streaming, for looking for news like on the spot, is not that practical. So we're gonna stay on YouTube always, let's say, as it is useful, unless we get stuck at some point. But so far, YouTube seems good enough for sources of both sides. And by the way, let me say that YouTube is actually doing great. They are unblocking streamers and podcasters that have been blocked for years, like well, I don't want to say names, doesn't matter. Maybe we'll do a right-wing civil war episode where we explain that, and there we'll talk about it there. But yeah, they have lowered down on the censoring, so which is nice because X is the best because of the lack of censoring, but it's man, it's chaos. It's just chaos in there. So it's very hard to actually filter. It's harder to. There's a lot more bullshit, so it's a lot harder to filter. The Somaliland people celebrate. That's good. It means they're happy, which is for me the most important. Are the locals happy? You know, is that what the people want? That's the most important question. Whatever is happening, is that what the people want? Habibi, come to Mogadishu, Somalia. Somaliland, the Stadt. This is in German. Okay. But why? Why is the UN so interested, I don't know, in keeping this unity between these two countries? Why? I think we used this source a couple times.
Israel's recognition of Somaliland has invited widespread reaction across the globe. European Union and African Union have criticized the move, and at least 20
Bahrain, Morocco, UAE. The UAE has been, oh man, this part I don't know that well, but the UAE also have their dirty fingers, their sticky dirty fingerprints all over the situation for some reason. The UAE, which is here, the United Arab Emirates. So I guess it's a quick boat trip, right? However, yeah, they have their hands embedded in all this shit.
21 countries, most of them from Muslim nations, have condemned the Israeli decision in a joint statement. The UN Security Council will be holding an emergency meeting on the
But
issue
why?
on
Why do
Monday.
you refuse?
Countries like Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Iran, and the Palestinian Authority have denounced recognition of Somaliland. However, 3 countries signatories to the Abraham Accords with Israel, Bahrain, Morocco, and UAE also.
Oh, there it is. Somaliland wants to be in the Abraham Accords. Which, by the way, I also heard that the Yemeni government, the official Yemeni government, not Ansarullah or the Houthis, obviously, which are in the east, they are also want to join the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords, for those who don't know, the Abraham Accords is basically a peace treaty between all the Arab countries and Israel, which Saudi has signed. I think Qatar, Bahrain, Oman 100%, Jordan and Lebanon 100%, Egypt I think not officially, Syria I think yes now with Al-Yemeni in power. So it's basically a insurance for Israel, you know, kind of like all the countries that form part of the Abraham Accords or the Islamic countries mean that you are at peace with Israel, whatever that entails. You know, some people say that's good for everybody because it's peace. Some people say, well, the point is that Israel has too much power in the Middle East and they keep expanding. This is not this is just a fact. We see it. They keep bombing Lebanon, bombing Syria, and so they keep wanting to expand. So it's a tricky situation, the Abraham Accords themselves, but you know, every government, every new government that they can add to this list, they will take. Doesn't matter which one it is. So I can imagine that is a good quid pro quo, right? It's like, I recognize your country, but you join the Abraham Accords. Makes sense. Now it makes sense. Okay, now we know why Netanyahu, or at least we have a small glimpse of why, not to, you know, allegedly or whatever, Netanyahu wants to declare Somaliland as an independent state. I told you, none of this, it's not about him. None of these politicians do things for the kindness of their hearts. It's all trade. It's all you give me and you get. It's all a quid pro quo. It's all, which is not necessarily a bad thing as long as it's a win-win situation.
Also did not join the statement. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation warned about the serious repercussions of the unprecedented measure on peace and security in the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea. Now, Europe has rejected the Israeli recognition of a breakaway region of Somaliland. EU Foreign Affairs spokesperson Anwar El Anouni said that the bloc...
Okay, they were speaking about Al-Shabaab. So the terrorist organization that we saw, it was not Al-Qaeda, it was Al-Shabaab. How about we take just 2 minutes to find out who Al-Shabaab is? Who is Al-Shabaab? Okay, 3 minutes, there we go. CNN, of course, pinch of salt.
Should have to receive news that their loved ones have been killed.
What, Al-Qaeda?
No family should have to receive news that their loved ones have been killed by a criminal bunch of cowards.
But tragically, the families of dozens of victims are mourning their losses today after gunfire echoed throughout the Westgate Mall in Nairobi, Kenya this weekend, a favored destination for Westerners.
Bullets were running
Kenya, though. This is in Kenya.
over my head, but God protected me.
The deadly aim of up to 15 armed militants was reportedly targeting non-Muslims. Among the killed and wounded, innocent citizens of
How they know?
America, Canada, and France.
White people? Yeah, white people.
And even for those lucky enough to escape, the terrifying ordeal was traumatic. The terror group Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the carnage Saturday afternoon.
It represents the seriousness and the breadth of the challenge that we face with...
Okay, this is a 12... I just realized. I'm like, what the fuck is John Kerry doing there? This is a 12-year video. 12-year-old video. Alright, let's put that into context. I just realized it.
And, completely reckless terrorists.
So, who is Al-Shabaab? A Somali terrorist organization sharing Al-Qaeda's perverse belief that targeting innocents is the way to fight in the name of Allah. The group is thought to consist of thousands of fighters and formally allied itself with Al-Qaeda in...
Is Al-Shabaab just the Somali version of... It's the Somalian... It looks like it's the Somalian version of Hezbollah.
recent years.
We're simply fighting for the sake of Allah.
The Somalian version of Hezbollah, meaning Lebanon, right?
And we're defending the religion of Allah.
Al-Shabaab has proven particularly adept at recruiting American-born jihadis, and the terrorist group claims 3 of them participated in the attack. U.S. officials say they are now combing through evidence to see if that claim is true. Noting the presence of some Americans in the group, law enforcement officials are especially worried about a strike here by Al-Shabaab terrorists, some of whom have...
Oh my god, the drama. Yes, Al-Shabaab terrorists are gonna fly and destroy America.
He affirms the importance of to the respect territorial integrity of Somalia and encourages meaningful dialogue between Somaliland and Somalian government. The Somalian government has...
Interesting. So fight the bid to secession. So that means that Al-Shabaab is refusing this secession. Hey, we keep getting signals that the Somaliland people are the good guys.
Encourages meaningful dialogue between Somaliland and Somalian government. The Somalian government has also rejected Israel's announcement, labeling it a direct assault on its sovereignty. Somalia's president, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, has said that PM Netanyahu's illegal aggression to declare a country's northern region independent was against the international law.
Okay, this international law thing is becoming slowly ridiculous, to be honest. But no, the illegal yeah, of course, it's an aggression against you, bro, because you're gonna lose land and power. It's a crime. Yeah, I mean, recognizing a part of Somalia's northern region is against international law. Don't give me that shit, man. You know what? This is the moment I show true objectivity. Pay attention to this, because we are gonna speak in the favor of Israel. This doesn't happen very often. Don't be a hypocrite. What the fuck is this guy's name? Hassan Sheikh Mohamud. Don't be a fucking hypocrite, because you have regardless of the situation of Palestine, regardless of what's going on there. You have countries like Spain, the UK, Australia. Just got a big terror attack because of that, maybe. So you have all of these countries recognizing Palestine as an independent state, and I don't think that they are breaking international law by doing it. So how can I consider, like, you see what I mean? Why can Macron declare, or Albanese in Australia, why can't they declare Palestine an independent state and be within international law? But when Netanyahu does it, then he's breaking international law. I think Netanyahu breaks enough international law and he's enough of a war criminal. We don't need this, actually. His curriculum, like his file is thick enough when it comes to international law and war crimes. So we don't overreact, dude. Don't overreact. Let's bring you back to the middle, bro. Come on, gray area here.
The Somalian people have also voiced their concern on the development, with many expressing shock and images circulating online showing Somaliland supporters carrying the Israeli flag.
But you see?
I heard.
Well, of course, they're celebrating that Israel recognized them. Okay, so here maybe we're gonna see the locals. What do the Somaliland people look? Mogadishu, this is not in Somaliland. This is the capital in the south.
Many expressing shock and images circulating online showing Somaliland supporters carrying the Israeli flag.
I wonder what's the problem. Why don't I want to why
I
does
heard
the
the
UN...
news that Somaliland has received recognition from Israel, even though it has not obtained full recognition from the world. This is something regrettable, that today Somali people and Somali territory are seeking recognition from Jews.
Somaliland has its own currency, passports, and army, but since its unilateral declaration of independence in 1991, it has grappled with decades of isolation while the territory itself remains deeply impoverished. Experts suggest that Israel's decision to recognize Somaliland was driven by its strategic interests. Somaliland's location on the Gulf of Aden and its proximity to Houthi-controlled territory in Yemen makes it a vital hub for monitoring and countering Iranian-backed threats.
Reason number 2, right? Oh, by the way, something that I completely forgot until now. Some of the, like, before getting into this, this morning I saw some, small podcasts about it or some small news updates about it. And apparently now with this recognition, Israel is going to put military bases, I think 13 was the military bases they are putting in Gaza. In the 58% of Gaza that Israel already controls, they are putting 13 military bases or something like that. That's not the topic or the piece we're talking about. We're talking about this one, of course, but I think that Israel is going to start putting military bases in Somaliland also. So that would be reason number 2 why Netanyahu did it. Perfect for staging operations against threats in the Red Sea. You can protect your own boats and keep the trade kind of flowing, or at least help. I have heard many arguments that there's not much you can do against the Houthis. If they want to target a ship, they will hit it. It's very hard for some reason. I'm not in the CIA or something. I don't know the actual military reasons why, but it's supposed to be not that easy to avoid these little dudes in shorts and sandals from how do you say, blocking the 30% of the world trade. Interesting. Vital hub for monitoring. Yeah, we know that.
Reports indicate that Israel is in talks to establish a military base in Somaliland, providing a direct platform for
she beat me to it.
operations against threats in the Red Sea. Israel also
let's hear that again so that I can confirm myself. That feels nice.
That Israel is in talks to establish a military base in Somaliland, providing a direct platform for operations against threats in the Red Sea. Israel also seeks to strengthen its footprint in Africa and find reliable partners outside traditional Arab-aligned states. While officially denied by Israel, there have been speculation about Somaliland was once considered
outside traditional Arab lands. What is a traditional Arab land? It's like I thought you had a problem with Islam. So it's not Islam, it's the Arabic people. Because the argument is Islam. Islam is violent, Islam is Sharia law, Islam is discrimination, and the Quran is violent, and 72 virgins if you blow up yourself and kill all the infidels. That's Muslim. That's Islam, right? That's your argument. But you're perfectly okay with shaking hands with these Muslim people. There's the hypocrisy coming. But that's not a Netanyahu thing. That's a political thing. You know, you have Donald Trump shaking the hand of Al-Yemeni, who was 20 years ago. He had a bounty on his head of $10 million for being the architect of the 9/11 attacks. So the guy who orchestrated the 9/11 attacks, destroying the Twin Towers in New York City, is now 20 years later in the UN in New York City doing an interview in the same place where he bombed these towers. We spoke about this when we covered it, and I said, man, like Al-Jelani must have gone to his hotel that night and just laughed his ass off. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here in the red carpet, wearing a suit, not anymore a terrorist leader group. So, hypocrisy. It's part of the political people.
It's considered for
politics.
the resettlement of Palestinians from Gaza. Meanwhile, Somalia's Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group Al-Shabaab has vowed to fight any attempt by Israel to claim or use parts of Somaliland following Israel's move on the breakaway territory. The group's spokesperson issued a statement that it would not accept the recognition and will fight against it.
Okay, so normally when it comes to, the standard rules, you normally want to go against the terrorist group. So if the terrorist group is not supporting this succession, then I guess we support it. But on the same side, I also know not to support what Netanyahu is doing. So as usual, we are stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's kind of a lose-lose situation. What? Arab fighters to attack Somaliland. Let's try to find an unbiased kind of, Somaliland news, let's say podcast. Let's see if I can find some names that I recognize and trust. Because these are all news sources and mainstream media is very hard. It's questionable. So I cannot do research on each of these to see who funds them and who owns these channels. Africa News, who owns this? So you need to know who owns them to know which narrative they're pushing. So when it comes to independent media, that's why I like independent media, because nobody owns them. They just say whatever they want. Sometimes they censor themselves so not to get, banned or kicked out of YouTube or, whatever. But the important thing is that they don't have any conflict of interest regarding the narrative. Let's see if we can. We might help with the algorithm also. If we start searching for podcasters. In Spanish, jefe de la ADL, Max Blumenthal es una gran fuente de preocupación. Not surprised. A year ago. No. He has a Spanish channel, I guess. The Gray Zone is his channel. Oh man, independent media. I don't know how to search this just to get podcasters. This is an algorithm thing, because in my personal YouTube account, I get, of course, immediately mostly podcasters. But these are all mainstream media channels. Citizens TV Kenya, Israel announces. Yeah, let's do this at random. 1 minute.
Israel has become the first country to formally recognize Somaliland as an independent and sovereign state. A move.
The very first country, very first. That's interesting. Because they've been waiting for 20 years, right? He said since 2001 or something.
to the political dynamics in the Horn of Africa. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel will immediately pursue cooperation with Somaliland in areas such as agriculture, health, technology and the economy. Somalia has, however, strongly condemned the move, calling it an unlawful violation of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Egypt, alongside Somalia, Turkey and Djibouti, also criticized Israel's decision, warning it could...
Djibouti is new. I didn't know that Djibouti rejected this. Basically, everybody's rejecting. Why? Why, dude? Why? Oh man, how the fuck do I ask this question? Like, why are countries against Somaliland? Look at the search engine. Somaliland. Money control. I don't know this dude. I don't know this dude. Why is Somaliland not recognized as an independent country? What? I'm blocked in I'm blocked in Reddit. I'm not blocked. What the fuck? This might have been because I have the VPN on. Yeah, that's why. Why is Somaliland not recognized? From what I understand, they basically run the entire chunk of land themselves. They have foreign relations, they seem pretty independent, but no one has recognized them. So why? What am I missing? Because it's considered part of Somalia by international right. Unless Somalia and Somaliland sign a contract that recognizes the border, that's not reason enough. To me, the not intervening in internal affairs argument is very different for Somalia and Somaliland versus China and Taiwan. In Taiwan's case, no one wants to upset China. In Somalia's case, no one is worried about upsetting Somalia. Not just other African nations. If the US recognizes Somaliland, it gives legitimacy to talk states. Yeah, this is one of the arguments, I guess. One of the arguments, but not even Djibouti, not even African states. Because if the argument is that the West, like France, is worried that if they succeed, then other countries might try the same. Who knows? I honestly don't really know in which of these countries there's some kind of division. Maybe we can even argue Nigeria, right? The northern Muslim part and the southern Christian part. If the southern Christian part, where Lagos is, which is the capital, and also they have the beach, which is better. If the southern Christian part is tired of getting genocided or whatever, then they might succeed. And we want to do what Somaliland did. So that's an argument, but it's not an argument for African countries. Like, you shouldn't have Djibouti being against their own. Who knows? Maybe they have political reasons not to do it. But I would say that if even African countries are refusing or do not support this, the reason has to be deeper than this one. Then so other countries don't do the same. Kind of.
Somalia, Turkey and Djibouti also criticized Israel's decision, warning it could threaten regional stability. The African Union rejected any recognition of Somaliland, reaffirming its support for Somalia's unity. Somaliland,
you see, the African community. They're not being very specific, but
has operated as a self-governing region since 1991, but
30 years.
has not previously been recognized by any country.
35
years. A great opportunity for expanding our partnership. We intend to work together with you.
This is the video that has, gone around the world, the most viral, with how everything started, right? Him making a voice call with the leader of Somaliland, whoever his name is, I don't know it.
On economic fields, on agriculture, in the fields of social development, all the things that we hope we can assist you, and we obviously believe in this friendship.
This development affirms an objective reality that has long existed. Somaliland meets the legal, political, and institutional criteria of statehood under international law.
Like, nobody can explain what the fuck is going on. Nobody can explain me Nobody can explain why. God damn it. Where were we? Here. Yeah, we were looking on Google. So, foreign relations of Somaliland, more countries reject. But why? But why? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna end the podcast soon and then just check during the day in my own channel, scroll in my algorithm that it's full of, I don't want to say it's full of legitimate news, but I want to say that it has a lot less mainstream media, which I trust the least. And then tomorrow or then the next episode, I will give you quick update at the beginning about if I can find any logical reason why nobody wants to support this. Nobody. Like, people are basically, you have the whole planet repeating what Al-Shabaab, which is a terrorist organization, saying. Like, normally the like countries, they go against it. This is very, very strange, very interesting. Very interesting. Huge question mark that we will definitely have to dig a little bit deeper. A joint statement by more than 20, mostly Middle Eastern and African countries, say that given the serious repercussions of such unprecedented measure on peace and security in the Horn of Africa, the Red Sea, and its serious effects on international peace and security as a whole. That's just a bunch of bubbly political bullshit, bro. There's nothing of essence there. Somaliland, which is arid, means mostly desert, lies in the Gulf of Aden, across, we know where it is, blah, blah, blah. Earlier in the year, the US and Israel officials told the Associated Press. Oh, by the way, there's something that I did miss. That Trump has been bombing Somalia more than ever this year. And I want to know why. If I guess they're bombing Al-Shabaab, they should be at least the argument. Let's find out quickly before we go what's going on. Why is this dude dressed like fucking Wakanda? This motherfucker is dressed like the Black Panther. As media looks away. 1 month ago, Trump bombed Somalia. Let's see what this guy has to say. Local dude.
What up, my beautiful...
2 million subs. Good job, bro. African Diaspora News Channel. Huh. Looks like an independent guy. No, ADNC. Huh. Let's see. Let's see quickly before we listen. No AI host. Okay. You can see it immediately when you check the website. Okay. It doesn't seem that... Okay, fair. I'll take it. It seems like Turning Point USA, right? Like a little bit of both.
What up, my beautiful African family? This is your main man, Theo E.J. Wilson with African Diaspora News. And
dude, you're gonna have to slow it down.
Mainstream media, they're doing a good job of covering this one up. I hate to say it. But we got to talk about it because this involves the continent and it involves my tax dollars as an American being used to take life on the African continent. And while we in the media ecosphere of America, the echo chamber,
okay, so we have
are rightfully...
Okay, so here, I'm sorry, I made the screen big. Wait, what the hell? Oh my god, you cannot see me? Why can you not see me? I just noticed. What the fuck? What happened? Ah, shit. Okay, somehow the camera stopped working. I'm gonna have to fix that. 1 second, please. I'll be right back. Oh shit, technical difficulties. Here we go. Okay, we're back. Let's finish this and then head on home.
Consumed with things that
by the way, this motherfucker is obviously a Black Lives Matter dude. Kind of I call these people the black supremacists, because yeah, that's what they are. So yeah, pinch of salt. These people love to play the victim. They love to be they love to blame everybody else and take zero accountability. And everybody who criticizes whatever any black person is doing is a racist. So that's what I don't like. But otherwise, let's listen to them.
The release of the Epstein files and stopping this pedophile ring was continuing to happen in Gaza, was continuing to happen at the military buildup in Venezuela and the ICE raids. All of these are important. But I hate the fact that in the pecking order of importance, what happens on the continent is put in the bottom.
You see?
And even
victimization.
Conflicts on the Somalia on November 11th,
Victimization, the first 3 minutes is just pour us, nobody cares. According to the press release from US Africa Commands, yeah. Okay. Yeah, targeting Al-Shabaab in southern Somalia. So that's what we wanted to know. I'm gonna avoid the fucking drama, pour us narrative. So yeah, I guess we can finish there for now. We can finish by yeah, we know a little bit about the story. And basically the conflicts begin in the recent history. Before that it was fine. They had their empires and their stuff, the Abuja, I wrote it down. Ajuran Empire. And then at the end of the 19th century, in 1881 or something, then the colonizers came, and since then it's been war. Now you have the Somaliland people here on top. You have Somalia down in the bottom, who are they have like the politically the governance is different. However, I have heard of no conflicts regarding race problems or religious problems. So it's mostly just about the land, right? And yeah, I mean, even though for some reason that we don't understand, Somaliland has been apparently at peace with their own economy, their own passports, their own everything since 1991, and yet every country in the world refuses to acknowledge them. We don't know why yet. This is what I'm gonna try to find out and get back to you on the next episode. We don't know why nobody likes Somaliland. Nobody wants to. We have a couple of arguments, but they are not enough. Argument one is other countries, maybe like Ethiopia, maybe like Nigeria, maybe like who knows who else, might try to do the same and then start civil wars or start breaking apart some of these French colonies and some of the British colonies as well, because the Europeans, they still need to exploit Western Africa. The explosions of resources and the stealing of resources still needs to happen. So that, I guess, would be an obstacle for them. And yeah, so far we can actually say I would, in my personal opinion, with a lot of holes in the story so far until now, I guess I support the split of Somaliland as long as it's peaceful. If their own population want to do it, if their own population want to be free and independent, then they should have the right to do it. That's always my argument. And I remember I was having an argument about, because before Venezuela got attacked or was now attacked by the US last year, there was some rumors that they were going to war against French Guiana, which is this country here. So that has been always like, Venezuelan government has always claimed that this belongs to Venezuela, and apparently Maduro was saying he wants to invade French Guiana to take it back. And of course the supporters of the government, they all supported this. And I ask, Okay, but what do the Guyanese people want? Do they want to join Venezuela or they want to stay independent? Because if they want to join, then cool. If they want to stay independent, then let them. And yeah, that's how I see it, what the locals want. So in this case, I would support Somaliland only because of this reason. For the first time ever, I am in agreement with Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't agree why he's doing it. However, here with my limited information, I support it so far. I will get back to you on more news because it makes just no sense. There's too many holes. There's too many emotional arguments of why you are not supporting, why this, it's gonna be dangerous, unsafe. We heard all this shit, already. Not for this, for many other reasons. So yeah, anyway, thanks for checking in, everybody. And please, as usual, as I keep forgetting, like, subscribe, do me this huge favor, like and subscribe and share and comment whether you like it, you don't like it, if you have opinions, if you think I got something wrong, if you have a good source, send me the link, whatever you want, we're here. And thank you for listening. This has been The Racist Latino, and I will see you again next time. Peace.